Yes.
Yeah. Most of my questions will be directed to Shelley, since you're the new person that's been appointed. I've got some light questions for you. Number one, my understanding is that you've kind of risen through the ranks at TriMet. So tell me about your experience in safety and security. Where did you serve? Where did you gain your experience? And because it's very important for me to have somebody who's going to be over safety and security who knows it, because as we're told, ignorance of the law is no excuse. And so if you're going to be over this, I want to hear something about the experience.
I appreciate that. First of all, my experience comes from growing up at TriMet from the ground up, understanding, first of all, the foundational training, the SOPs, and what makes TriMet work operationally. Once I moved into the position of safety and security, I recognized that there was certainly some areas that I needed to be educated in. TriMet was very good at providing a consultant that came in, a man named Harry Saporta, who was formerly in charge of FTA's Office of Safety and Security, came in and spent a full week with me going over all aspects of safety certification, FTA, TSA, whatever I needed to know there. I'm also a member of the Safety and Security Roundtable, which is the top 50 transit agencies across the nation. We meet twice per year to learn more about what needs to be done in safety and security and the industry best practices. Most recently, I was one of 5 people from across the nation that was asked to go back to Washington, D.C. to meet with the Office of Safety and Security, to consult with them on things that we could do to improve those roundtables and further agenda items that would help guide what happens in our industry. So I took that as a very high compliment, having only sort of being the new kid on the block in the industry. I speak regularly to the Office of Safety and Security in Washington, D.C. Also there's a number of publications, a number of classes throughout the industry that are available that I've been able to partake of.
So tell me if you've had any actual on-ground, in-the-field work experience of doing safety and security, or has it all been classroom, book, articles, and listening? Have you had your hands involved in it on the ground? You have done it. You've done it successfully or non-successfully. I want to hear something more than the bookie.
Okay. For the last 3 years, I was in charge of safety and security at TriMet. Responsible for our safety department, responsible for security as well. The safety certification of our green line and our west line were both done under my observation. That's about as hands-on as you can get. I've responded to a number of critical incidents. I sit on our Transit Change Review Committee, which is responsible for ensuring that what we do is safe each and every day. So 3 years of hands-on experience, sir.
I won't belabor the conversation, but I would request another meeting with you and perhaps the new general manager to talk about safety and security and experience, because what I'm hearing, I'm not pleased and satisfied with. And that might be just me being the new one that comes in, but as I look at things that are happening in community, particularly when it comes around law enforcement and officers and security and things like that, things that are happening, I'm just no longer at the place where I can sit still and quiet about persons who seem to get these particular positions and jobs and have not done it. But they've just come in and being able to handle things at the top. And that's good, that you're called to speak and do that. I'm called to speak and do things too. But, over these course of the last 30-some years, I've been in the trenches doing some things, and that's what I was trying to hear from you. Have you been in the trenches doing? And it seems like it's just been the last perhaps 3 years or so, and the culture that you've gotten has been through that of just what's happening at TriMet. I'm looking for a little bit more than that for this particular position. So I will probably be one of your persons who will ride your department harder than anybody else perhaps on this board of directors. But in the district where I come from, it is very, very important to know that. So that's that. And let me move to my next question. Since you've risen through the ranks of TriMet, tell me something about your diversity experience, what your goals about it, and your positions before where you were in the top position of the hiring and all of that. Have you been effectively promoting persons of ethnic diversity, or have you just had inside of your tenure, where you are, just bringing people who look just like you?
At TriMet, every position that gets hired above an assistant manager up, we are required to sit and meet with our general manager and explain how we went through our recruiting process and ensure that we have reached out to get the most diverse pool of people possible. So our processes have been very competitive. We recognize that it's important to make sure that all aspects, all people have equal opportunity to apply for and be promoted to positions. So I would say that I'm a big supporter of diversity. I come from a very diverse family. You may not know that obviously by looking at me. So diversity is important to me. As a woman, it's equally important to me that people are not judged by their appearance or the perception that because of who they are, their gender, their color, that should not be the factor that decides whether someone gets a position or not. People should be judged on their ability or their ability to grow into the job and what they bring from their cultural experiences to the positions that we're seeking to fill.
So if your record was examined in terms of hiring and recommendations, I would find a good record of recommendations for diversity and ethnic people being hired, being considered, or am I going to find something totally different? And the question would be, and the main question was, not so much the TriMet's process, but what is Lomax's experience, practice, and patterns?
You would find exactly what you would hope to find, that people have been hired and recruited based on their skills. I have nothing to hide in my hiring.
I'm depending on that 100% plus.
Also, any more questions? Okay, thank you both. Also, Dr. Beaverton, you are new to the board, and many of these things will come into focus as time goes on, but TriMet has an excellent reputation for supporting in our capital projects, minority contractors, and keeping a very open profile. The general manager has been recognized for his level of support in these areas by organizations too many to mention. So I think you will grow very comfortable with what you find as time moves on, and I think your participation, your interest in this area will be welcome. I think that you should arrange for Dr. Bethel and any other board member that would care to meet with you and Shelley, and everyone should be totally satisfied that they have access to all of you. Okay. No, George. No.
I just want to say I had the opportunity when we were faced with those security issues a couple of years ago. They were pretty much in vogue in the press, a lot of pressure. Both Shelley and Commander Jarmer came into a situation that was very difficult, I think, to deal with, very charged, and they managed their way through the process with Fred's help and the board's insistence, I think, to create the system that they described as the precinct system that really ameliorated the situation over time. And I think they cited some of the statistics that measures of the progress that we've made in making and securing the system, and just the absence of media and things, I think, speak also to how much safer the community feels while on the system. So I just have to stick up for the work that they've done, because I witnessed it. I was part of it. I was part of the original IGA for the original traffic police precinct out in Washington County, and I know how hard TriMet worked to solve that problem, and how much focused attention it got, both at the board level and in the management group. So, and Shelley and Vincent, I'm very pleased being part of that process.